risk management, risk mitigation. We're gonna go over risk management strategies to either diversify, control, or avoid risks associated with investing in multifamily real estate. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you gotta risk it to get the biscuit. There are inherently risks associated with any investment, but we wanna go through how we are controlling and how we are mitigating risk as best as possible with this asset class to make our investments more successful. So let's jump into the video. Due diligence. Do your due diligence up front. Stop. For the people in the back, ladies and gentlemen, due diligence is the #1 way to mitigate risks associated with investing in multifamily assets. I'm going to tell you right now, being really good at your due diligence, being extremely thoughtful and sneaky and clever and practical all at the same time will help improve your ability to do your due diligence. A few things right off the bat though. Economy. Understand the economics of the asset class. Understand the economics of the market, the region, the country that you're investing in. Super important. Number 2, local market. You got to understand your local market, right? You have to understand the market that you're actually planning to invest in. If you're jumping from market to market, that's fine. Talk to experts that have experience investing in that market. Start there. Next up, financing, and then finally the condition. You have to understand and you have to do your due diligence before you acquire this asset, what your financing options are, what the conditions are. All of these variables will mix up into a ball, so you'll have a better idea of what a good deal is for this particular asset and making sure that it makes the most sense for your strategy. But if you don't do the due diligence, you're gonna end up with an egg or surprises, and either way, we want to avoid that, especially when you're investing in something that's of this size. We're gonna do multiple videos just on due diligence strategies, tips, and tricks, so stay tuned for that. But now let's go into the other risks and how we're gonna mitigate them. If you're working through some due diligence, you're analyzing deals, you're underwriting them, or you have an asset that you already own and you're working through some problems, hit us up via email. Send me an email direct. We'd love to connect, see if there's anything we can do to help, or see if there's anything we can do to add value to your current investments or your next one. Now, back to the goods. Risk diversification. Listen, you can diversify your risk exposure within different asset classes and also just within the real estate asset class, right? So follow me here. With multifamily, I get multiple units. I'm reducing my risk of vacancies and the impact it has on my business by having more units in one roof. If I have one multi-unit property with 20 units and one tenant doesn't pay me 1 month, that's not gonna be as big of a deal for my bottom line in our business as opposed to a single family rental where they miss out on a payment. Then I'm screwed, right? Locations. You can have multi-unit properties in different locations to diversify away from risks of a specific local market fluctuations. It is a good option. I recommend you start investing in where you know and what you know, but that's just me personally. There are lots of other opportunities in other markets though. Economic impacts on real estate. Multifamily real estate will diversify you out of what will impact the residential real estate market. Residential and multifamily commercial investments move differently. Regardless of what's happening in the market, they will react a little differently. So if there's fluctuations in the residential market, you will see some in the commercial or in multifamily market, but it'll be a little less. Now, scale. You're diversifying away from the time and energy it's gonna take to acquire the same amount of units if you're doing them with multiple individual properties. Easier to buy 20 unit property in one roof than 21 unit properties in different locations or even within the same city. The scale will take away from the time and energy and the mistakes you may make to spend to go acquire all those single family properties. Steady Eddie. Steady, baby. You're diversifying away from market fluctuations, whether it's the stock market, debt markets, or the residential real estate market. Fluctuations in multifamily real estate are much lower. Expect much less variance in the rise and fall of either rental income or the value of your asset. There's a lot more consistency with multifamily real estate, which diversifies away from a lot of the risks of other investment classes and does help mitigate the risks associated with investing in anything. If it's going to be more consistent and more predictable, more likely for you to have success and make a good decision one way or another. Now, I'd like to highlight that a lot of risks in any type of investing can be mitigated if you have a much longer time horizon. If you're investing in an asset and that is something that has value, that can be explained and calculated and is likely to appreciate over time, if you have a longer time horizon, you're much less likely to make mistakes and lose money, right? So follow me here. You can diversify and you can mitigate a lot of risks if you do great research. And that can be research on the global economy, the national economy, your province, your state, your territory, your city. getting a better understanding of all of the big trends and how they'll impact your specific market that you're investing in or the specific type of property you're investing in will help you make a much more educated decision. Look, you don't need to be an economist, but understanding the basics of GDP expectations, here in Canada especially, immigration, employment, income, rental rates, vacancies, cap rates, understanding how all these things move, the financing market, right? Understanding how all of these things will move should reduce the amount of risk inherently because you're going to be more educated and be able to make a more educated and informed decision with whatever property you guys are going to go purchase. And next, I just want to highlight properties in the same asset class. Multifamily properties here in Waterloo Region versus in Toronto versus in Calgary, they'll operate and they will perform differently. Same asset class, different locations have different market conditions that will make that asset perform differently. So understand what to expect in a market like Toronto, or what to expect in a market like Waterloo Region, or what to expect on a market in the South or in the East Coast. The same asset class will have different factors and different variables that you need to know about, will be managed differently, and will perform differently. So understanding which ones you like and why will help you better understand and help you make a good decision to get good returns for you and your partners, and that's what we do. Listen, you are never going to prepare for absolutely everything, especially when you're investing in real estate. But if you do your due diligence and your research up front, you will mitigate a ton of risk and reduce the amount of surprises. From my experience, there are virtually no good surprises in investing in real estate. I don't like surprises when it comes to my investments. So, if you don't like surprises, do your due diligence up front, do your market research, and more importantly, have cash reserves. Have cash reserves. Things will come up, mistakes will happen, have cash reserves. Do not spend your last dollar and everything you own on one deal. Mistake. The risk associated with it is too great if you're going to lose everything. And it may make you make a decision in order to get some or all of your cash back when the investment is right about to start performing very well. You need to have that long time horizon and you need to have cash reserves. If you're in a position where you don't have cash and you need it, there are lots of ways to get it. Credit, secured, unsecured, vendor, seller financing, private money, mix, commercial loans. There is a lot of ways to get access to capital. In my experience, the quicker and easier it is, the more expensive it's going to be. So take that into consideration and make sure you have cash reserves and you have a contingency plan. Do not forget about this. You can mitigate a ton of risks if you have professional property management. Professional property management, ladies and gentlemen. Less vacancies, quicker turnover so you're not burning cash and have vacant units. Collecting on time, collecting in full, maintaining the property so your tenants stay happy and they continue to pay you on time and they continue to pay good rents. Managing cap expenditures. If it's maintained well, you're going to spend less on cap expenditures because the property is continually maintained properly. They're communicating well with your tenants, they're communicating with you as the operator or you as the investor, and they're making sure the exterior and the interior is well taken care of so it's a great, happy, safe, clean place to live. There are so many horror stories that you hear out there, and I'm going to tell you right now, the good overshadows the bad. As an operator, as an investor, as a property manager myself, I can tell you that it is very rare to have a terrible experience with a tenant if you do your due diligence and you professionally manage the property. You have a system in place so everything's in one spot and it's managed efficiently. This will make your asset perform very well and generate returns for you and your partners. You gotta hire the pros, you gotta work with the pros so the property's managed well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be proactive with our maintenance and our renovations. Do not let things stack up. Do not wait to take care of things. You want to be proactive in your maintenance, in any renovation projects or big cap expenditures that you're doing. This will inherently reduce your cap expenditures because you're maintaining your property well, so you don't have all these big damages that are just getting worse and worse and worse, and then you gotta drop a ton of money to fix it on a dime. That is not what you want. If you reduce your amount of cap expenditures, you maintain the property well, your performance is going to increase. Happier tenants, paying you more money on time, more returns for you and your investors. It is the only way to do it. Regulations. These things are out of your control. Local, municipal, provincial, federal regulations do directly impact your ability as an investor to manage, acquire, and just be successful in the multifamily space. You have to plan ahead and in advance and understand this when you're doing your due diligence before you acquire an asset, is understand that this is largely out of your control, but you can stay informed of the local municipality and the markets that you're investing in and the provinces that you're investing in to understand what changes may or may not be coming in the pipeline and adjust your acquisition, your management, or your exit strategy accordingly. Now, you can adapt as well. If you stay informed, you're paying attention to what's going on with local landlords, local real estate investors, and the local governments, you can have a lot more information to make educated decisions so you're not caught with your pants down. Like I said, we don't typically like surprises with investing in real estate. Stay ahead of the regulations, understand them, and manage your buildings accordingly. The tenants are your business. Plain and simple. Without the tenants, building doesn't make money. You don't make money as an investor. So, managing, retaining, and keeping your tenants is the cornerstone of your business. This will mitigate the majority of your risks. As long as you have happy tenants and they keep paying you good market rents, you're going to keep making money as an investor. Look at you go, ladies and gentlemen. Expectations. Setting clear expectations up front when you take over a building is key. Hey guys, here's who we are, here's how we do things, here's why. We love for everything to work out great. Setting clear expectations on how the property is going to be managed, how they're communicated with, how they make payments, how they make maintenance requests, how changes are going to be communicated is really important to building a good first impression and a strong relationship off the bat. This is really important. Next up, you're going to communicate very, very clearly. You set the expectations on how they're going to be communicated regarding specific things that are associated with living in and managing the building from our perspective, so they know how to get in touch. They know how to talk to you, you know how to talk to them in order to make sure that the relationship stays strong and there aren't issues moving forward. And then finally, this is all much easier if you have a system. If you have a system to manage your properties with the right people, with the right communication methods, with the right strategies, you will be able to retain good tenants. You'll be able to consistently find and keep good tenants that can continue to take care of your building and pay you on time, making your investment more successful. This should reduce the risks, a lot of them associated with maintaining and operating a multifamily building after you've acquired it. A couple more points to wrap up this video, folks. Insurance. You can mitigate a lot of unforeseen instances if you are properly insured. A lot of different types of insurance depending on the building, the project, what you and your investors need to make sure that you're properly insured. Pro tip though, if you're underwriting deals, chances that you're going to be able to get the same insurance, same cost that the current owner has in their numbers when you're doing your numbers, your underwriting, and your due diligence, zero. You are likely going to have to get new insurance. You will, and it's likely going to be significantly higher. So just account for that in the underwriting. Let you folks know. Finally, continuous learning. Look, you've done awesome. You found a great building. You've underwritten it. You've done all your due diligence. You've gotten everything set up. You've acquired it. Now you're managing. Everything's going well. If you don't continually understand what the regulation changes are, what the market changes are, what the economic changes are, you are going to fall behind and you're going to mismanage your building. And eventually, regardless of if you're making money hand over fist, you're going to eventually exit from that building. And if you've let things slide, you're not with the times, you're going to sell it much lower, or you're going to take a much more difficult deal to exit that property. I know I'm thinking long term here, but let's just be clear. It doesn't just stop once you've acquired the building and you've gotten everything set up in the first couple months. It doesn't work like that. You need to stay on top of this to make sure that the asset and you as an investor understand everything that's going on in your market and with your building so that you're continually able to generate strong income and strong returns for you as an investor and your partners that you're working with for the deal. Super important. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Here's a few ways to mitigate the risks. There's lots of little things to do, and we're going to be sharing more content on some of these specific topics so that you guys can get a little bit more of a deeper dive on how to successfully invest in multifamily real estate. If you're interested in learning more about getting into these deals, doing them yourselves, or working with people like us, send me an email here. If you got value from the video, drop a like, share a comment if you have questions, and we'll see you on the next video.